Welcome to the CSFL pregame show. We got the championship game coming up, and I got your favorite, one of our most favorite owners, the Demons, here to break it down with me. Demons, thanks for being here.
Been a while, Johnny. Ready to talk some football again?
Yeah, buddy. Championship game. The 10-3 Vipers versus the 8-5 Scorpions. The Vipers' first time ever in the championship game in 4 seasons, and they are hosting the championship game. And the Scorpions in their second season getting to the championship game Friday, January 7th at 7 p.m. But let's take a look at the standings and let's talk football with the Demons here. Demons, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the whole playoff pictures and stick around, everyone, because we're going to take a pick at who we and the Demons think are going to win the Scorpions and Vipers championship game. But first, we got something from the Demons. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, Scorpions and Vipers met in week 8 during the season, with the Scorpions winning 27-24 at the Vipers' home stadium. They forced a fumble midway through the fourth and then ran out the clock. It was a gutty win. Scorpions middle linebacker Jason Williams was the player of that game. He had 7 tackles, 1 interception, and the final forced fumble. This is the fact that they won at the Vipers Stadium is key because home teams are 3-0 in championship games in the CSFL.
Ooh.
So now we have a situation where the Scorpions have gone into the Vipers house and won, but the Vipers have history on their side with the championship game. So that's two interesting points that obviously make you think anyone can win. Gene Ingram, though, has been there, done that as well. I believe he's the first quarterback to appear in 2 championship games in the CSFL, and he has a ring already. He's going for 2.
Wow. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's incredible. Yeah, I didn't even realize that the championship teams are all home teams. So will the Vipers keep that trend going on, or will the Scorpions be the first away team to ever win a championship game? Oh, buddy. Super excited.
Well, let's look at the way the Vipers got there. These guys finished the season as the 2nd seed. They had the best rush offense in the league, led by Phil Clemens, who's also tearing it up in these playoffs. But their turnover ratio in the season was a weak point. They were -4 on the turnover ratio. In these playoffs, and also their points per game, 11th. Now they won 10 games. Obviously, the points per game hasn't hurt them too much, but you can see top-ranked rush offense. Not much for pass offense. They don't ask a lot of Corey Moore. They just ask him to be efficient. In the playoffs, they've continued their trend. Low-scoring games, not a lot of offense. Phil Clemens running for a ton of yards. They won 24-10 over the Gators in the quarterfinal. Phil Clemens in this game ran for 171 yards and a touchdown. And then they won 21-17 over the Piranhas. And in the semis that you got highlighted there, and Clemens in that game ran for 141 yards and a touchdown. So he's at 312 yards and 2 touchdowns in
Wow.
2 games in these playoffs. So you got to think if the Vipers are going to win the championship, Phil Clemens is going to walk away as the playoff MVP.
Yeah.
Offensively, Johnny, the Vipers have only managed 587 yards in 2 games in these playoffs, but they've held their opponents to only 508 yards. That is very low for the CSFL.
Wow.
This team wins. They win with smash mouth football. They establish the run and they shut you down on D. Corey Moore is playing efficient football in these wins. Noah Childs, the rookie corner, is having a great run in these playoffs. 9 tackles, 1 for a loss, and 1 interception in the playoffs so far. I got to say, the Vipers, their keys to this game, continue to establish Phil Clemens. They got to keep giving him the rock. They got to play. They got to limit explosive plays on D, limit turnovers on offense, control the clock. That's their style. They can establish that, then I can see them coming out on top. One big matchup to watch on their end is how Noah Child stacks up against Jackie Wilson.
Oh, yeah. Wow. There's a matchup of the season. Absolutely. Yeah, wow. The Vipers and the Scorpions are actually 1-1 all-time record. And the Scorpions beat the Vipers. One of those three losses they've had or was against the Scorpions. So that's something to keep in mind. And also to add to your point, the Vipers were first in the league for points allowed on defense. They only averaged 25.6 points in the regular season to teams, which is incredibly low in the CSFL. So yeah, wow, big time points there about the Scorpion or about the Vipers. Let's take a look at these Scorpions. They couldn't be more opposite. They're like the other team, like you said, the Vipers, 24 points, 21 points, and now you look at the Scorpions. They're really explosive on offense.
Oh, I love the way the Scorpions are playing football this year. They already had a lot of solid pieces in place on offense. They had Tiki Carter, you've got Jackie Wilson, Bob Klein, guys like that running the show, and they made the trade for Gene Ingram, and it just took them to a new level. They're the fourth seed heading into these playoffs. They're the top ranked pass offense. Not surprising. Genie Ingram has just loved these connections that he's got on offense, and a +1 turnover ratio. Uh, and like you said, they're in these playoffs. They've won as they've won in the season. They're the second highest point score a game in the season, 33.2, almost a non-converted touchdown ahead of the Vipers. Fantastic pass offense, positive turnover differential. They win shootout style games in the playoffs. They've managed 855 yards of total offense, and their defense has allowed 788. These games are wide open. They couldn't be more different than the Vipers games. There's almost another game of yards in those stats.
Wow.
They beat the Bears in a 38-35. Fantastic matchup, great game, one of the best games of these playoffs, and a walk-off field goal in the quarterfinal. Jackie Wilson, 6 catches, 165 yards, and 2 touchdowns in that game.
Sheesh.
Yeah, he's on fire in these playoffs. And then in the semifinals, the Scorpions defeat the Rhinos by 18 points, 48-30. Again, another huge game by Jackie Wilson. 6 catches for 185 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's almost the same stat line. It's very similar. But he also had a kick return touchdown in this game. So he's had 5 touchdowns in 2 games. Tiki Carter ran for 138 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game as well. Wow. They beat you in so many different ways. Like if they can keep that type of aggression going, it's hard to imagine even the Vipers defense slowing them down. They can score. They're scoring through the pass, scoring through the run, scoring on special teams. It's just how do you beat these guys? Which one do you key on? Wilson is having an MVP playoff campaign for these Scorpions, though. Just like Phil Clemens for the Vipers, it's hard to imagine Wilson not being the MVP if the Scorpions win the championship. Ingram, they haven't talked much about him. He's thrown 682 yards in these 2 games and 6 touchdowns himself, but he has thrown 3 picks. And right there is where you think the Vipers D and their stingy defense is going to take advantage. So you've got an offense here in the Scorpions that is near flawless, but the one flaw might be interceptions. And you've got a team in the Scorpions who play a very low scoring clock management type of game where they just pound the rock at you. Turnovers are going to kill you against that type of team. So Ingram has to be clean, I think, for them to come out with the win. But the number one key for the Scorpions is going to be shutting down Phil Clemens more than anything else. Their D has to shut down Phil Clemens, and they have linebacker Jason Williams and linebacker Ernie Pounds. Their matchup against Phil Clemens is going to be what you see. Can Clemens get through these guys? Yeah. He's proven that he can get through anybody this year. We'll see what happens in the championship.
Wow, what an amazing breakdown. I was honestly smiling the whole time. I was so excited. The Phil Clemens #1 rushing offense in his respective category with the Vipers, and the Jackie Wilson passing offense #1 in his respective category. Who will step up bigger and who will have the bigger day, Phil Clemens or Jackie Wilson? amazing to see. But when you look at the numbers and don't look at the um, overall record, definitely the Scorpions stand out more. Definitely more balanced on defense and incredibly amazing on offense. But the number one thing that stands out, to your point, if they stop that run with the Vipers, look at the passing offense. Number 1 to number 12. Like last place to first place. Big time difference. And the quarterback's a rookie, talking about a veteran compared to a veteran who's won a championship and is with a new team who's already won, now playing a rookie quarterback who's in his first season. Like, oh my goodness, incredible polar opposites there. But the Vipers have to keep it to a defensive game. They have to keep it close because I don't know. Prove me wrong, Phil Clemens. Prove me wrong. And Corey Moore.
Well, Phil
Maybe,
Clemens has been doing it all year. He's
yeah,
been doing it all year, and then no one's been able to stop him. There's no that's the Scorpions' job in this one is stop Phil Clemens. They can't let him just get first downs all the way down the field, kill a whole quarter, and then pop in a touchdown. They have to. The Scorpions need to keep the scoring high and make Corey Moore throw the ball. Corey Moore had an over 90% completion percentage against the Gators, and he also had a pretty solid game against the Piranhas as well. But they don't ask a lot of him. He doesn't have a lot of yards. He doesn't have flashy stats. His completion percentage is great because the run game sets everything up for him.
yeah.
Gene Ingram, you're saying polar opposites. This guy is just he's hucking it. It's all over the field. He wants those yards. He's the guy you start in fantasy. But I honestly think turnovers are going to be like they are in almost any football game. Turnovers are going to play a big story in this one.
Yeah.
Can the Vipers, with their -4, limit their turnovers, and can they force a few on Gene Ingram, who's thrown 3 picks in this playoffs? The stats say the Scorpions are favored in that regard, obviously being +1 versus -4. I think the Scorpions are the more well-rounded team on offense. Like you said, they have more explosiveness overall in their roster, but the Vipers are the stronger defense, and they're able to control the game with a smash mouth style of football.
Yeah.
It's a close one to call, Johnny. Two teams that both belong there, and we're gonna have a well-deserving champ.
And they're at home, the Vipers, with that powerhouse defense. So
Oh
they're
yeah,
at home with that defense. So what they're lacking a little bit, I feel like they make up with that home field advantage. And yeah, the Scorpions just absolutely phenomenal. But when it comes to the offense, I'm going to give it to the Scorpions. When it comes to the defense, I'm going to give it to the Vipers. But of course, the special teams has to go to the Scorpions. Can they pop in and a special teams touchdown and run away with it like they did against the Rhinos? It was a close game at halftime. I believe it was 20-17. They pop in they get a touchdown. They stop them, make them go 3-and-out, and then score on a kick return touchdown to kind of get it out of reach to change the game plan and then they get in desperate mode and look what happened with the interception and Scorpions capitalizing on it now and that's how that's what they do to you. They've done it to quite a few teams, and that's the reason why they're here. And yeah, I don't know who are you picking. We've made them wait long enough. Who are you picking? Do you want me to go first? Do you want to go first?
I can go first. Sure. I think the Scorpions end up imposing their will on it. I think if they take a lead, the Vipers are going to have a hard time establishing their style. And I think the Scorpions have enough firepower to overcome what the Vipers are trying to do. I think the Scorpions win somewhere around the 35-28 margin.
Wow, great prediction. And just to be devil's advocate, I'm gonna go with the Vipers. But you're absolutely right. If it gets out of hand, can they keep it? But the home field advantage, championship teams, 3-0 in the championship game. Will the Vipers take them down? I think the Vipers will. But I'm excited for both of these teams because I'm really excited for the rookie quarterback to win it as a rookie, and I'm really excited for the veteran to win it his second time. Either way, I think it's super exciting.
Can't wait for Friday, Johnny.
Awesome, man. Thanks for being here with me.
Anytime.